Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Police responded to a 911 call.
Dramatic video of gun insanity in the Bronx.
Police releasing a new video of a person that they are still trying to track down.
Defund the police is not the answer.
Many people surveyed said they just don't feel safe in the city.
It's a shooting outside of a store.
This is Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast.
Police this morning are searching for the person who turned this Harlem platform to a crime scene.
A Red Apple Media Podcast Network production. Now, here's Bo Dietl.
Welcome to Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. Glad to be back here in ABC Studios, and I'm enjoying bringing up the current events. Before I had my guest that I have on this week, I just want to bring up a couple of current events going on in our beautiful city. My first podcast, I had Gary Tisler on, and we were talking about the Charter Revision Commission. Now, people didn't understand what I was talking about, but obviously the mayor knew what I was talking about, because after our first podcast, he put together a charter revision committee, comprising people from New York City to be put on this commission. And part of this commission is going to be public safety, education, homelessness, all these issues that are facing the public safety of New York City. I mean, the first episode we had, like I said, Gary was very, very good with this and showed a roadmap what can be done. And in reality, so what happened was our progressive city council was trying to jump on a bandwagon there. And what they were trying to do now, they didn't have enough yet. They want to take away any and all power from our mayor, who we elected, where he can't even appoint a police commissioner, a sanitation commissioner. They want to tell him what to do. I've had enough of this city council with their progressive nonsense and with their non-nonsense. They have no idea of what in the hell they're doing. They talk about a headlock. They call it a chokehold. They call a diaphragm law a diaphragm law. They tell cops, now when people ask you for directions, you know what you got to do? You got to stop everything. You got to put it in your computer, and you got to start filling these forms out. This is so ridiculous. What else do you want to do? Oh, now all of a sudden they're coming out, they want them to shave their beards. These are police officers. These aren't Boy Scouts. These are professionals. What they want to do is just take the heart and soul. Hey, city council, you've been responsible for a lot of deaths, and I'll say it, because, first of all, you sit part and parcel with our state senators and our assembly morons up there with the bail reform. That transitions into crime on the streets, and everybody talks about crime being down. I beg to differ with you. The fact of the matter is, right now, crime is up, and it's soaring, and it's not perception. It's reality, and you can see it every day. Every day I drive around in my car, it's a matter of time until one of these illegal mopeds, motorcycles go into my car. They're ready for combat. One of the incidents that happened yesterday, I go to the car wash, and I go to the car wash, and all of a sudden I was in Queens. It was New York City. And I'm there, and I'm pulling up to the lane, and the guy's yelling at me, move over. He had tattoos up to his neck. He had tattoos on his face. Put it this way, he wasn't from Ozone Park. He was from, someplace down there in the Central America. And I guarantee you, he was a criminal person. Just looking at the tattoos on him, looking at the bodybuilding jail muscles, I know a criminal when I see one. It was a matter of time until I was going to get into it. And look I carry a gun, and I don't back down for nobody. But I worry about my sons, my grandchildren, you, the people of New York City. To me, the most important things right now is the safety of New Yorkers, and we're missing the whole thing. We're talking about I'm for immigration. I see these families. I see these women with babies on their back selling fruit on the streets. Look, the American dream is a beautiful thing. My parents were immigrants. They came here from Italy and Germany. And you want to know something? They worked hard. They did what they had to do. I'm not for stopping immigration. What I'm against is knowing who's coming in. And exactly now, we have no clue. All we know, point in case, some Venezuelan with a criminal record, that criminal record says he's been here in the United States, shot 2 New York City cops. Because you know what? There's no respect. There's no respect for anything with the police anymore. So you have them, they're there, and then you have the advent of these gangs that are coming into our city. The problem, again, we don't know who's there. Now they got this gotaways. You know what they're talking about? 1.5 million gotaways. You know what a gotaway is? A gotaway is we don't have a damn clue who the hell they are. And they infiltrated our country. Now what's happening is that we start picking up the papers, and it is a matter of time. And you could quote me right now. We will have a terrorist attack in our major cities in the very near future. You have ISIS people that are coming there. You have Hamas people. Come, have fun, because all you do is you walk through our southern border, you're in our country. There's no checks and balances. And this person who's supposedly the president of the United States has no idea. And then we have this Alexander Hyundai, whatever the hell his name is, the head of Homeland Security, another fool. We have no problem with the border. No, we have no problem, because there's no border. And this is what we put up. And this is what we're going for right now. And no one has an idea of what the hell is in our city, in our state, and in our country. I saw Governor Hochul, whatever her name is. I actually gave her some cash. Not cash. I gave her a check. And she was a fundraiser. So I said to her, and she had a nice husband there, and her husband was a very nice gentleman. He was a former U.S. attorney from Washington. In Washington, you don't have district attorneys. It's a U.S. attorney. Hey, Bo, how you doing? I said, how am I doing? I said, I'd like to talk to the governor. And I spoke to her in front of him. I said, Governor, you're the governor. Very important position. You have executive emergency power. How about you make a directive that anybody who's illegally in this country, and they're arrested on a felony, why can't we turn them over to the ICE? Why? And I said to the governor, why can't you do that? Public safety, people are dying because of it, and there's going to be so much violence on our streets. Remember one thing. If they don't get a job, what are they going to do to make money for their families? And especially if you're a criminal element, it goes easy. You remember how to rob people down there in Guatemala. You remember how to rob people in Venezuela. So you just take all your attributees and all your factualization of how you rob people, how you stab people, how you kill people, you bring it to America, and you bring your trade. Instead of being a carpenter or a plumber, no. I'm a killer. I'm a robber. And that's where we're going right now. And if we don't stop this now, we are going to be into the toilet bowl. And I told the mayor, I spoke to the mayor not too long ago, a few days ago. I said, Mr. Mayor, look into your emergency powers. Public safety is number one. See if you could put a proclamation. You're the executive emergency power. See if you could put it where anybody who's arrested in this city on a felony, let's turn them over to the ICE. Why not? Now we're going to come and we're going to have our new guest. I'm very upset about this, obviously, because I'm afraid my grandchildren, my sons, my daughter, I'm afraid for you, the people of New York. And we're going to have our guest, Sean McCarthy. He's going to come on with us right now.
This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV Insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV Insurance at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pet injury is an additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. And today we have a great friend of mine, and to be very open about it, he actually works with my company now. He's one of the directors of security operations for Bo Dietl Associates, Sean McCarthy. Now, Sean and I go back quite a few years ago. He come to me back and forth, and every time I was going to give him a job, he said, Bo, I got to go back here. I got to go back. He was going back to Afghanistan. He was in the United States Marine Corps at that time. Then he became a contractor. But this was something that he had his heart and soul. And a lot of people don't know what actually happened. We all know about the $80 billion in military equipment that was left behind at that Air Force base. Imagine if we had that $80 billion to help Ukraine or help the Israelis. Just imagine that. But we left it behind to this great group of Taliban. And there's things that we're going to talk about today. A lot of people don't know. We're still giving these great group of people money. This is the same great group of people that were terrorizing, killing people. And part of his heart is the people of Afghanistan, the interpreters, the people who are helping us, the people who are showing our military who was going to blow them up and who were going to kill them. And these people saved a lot of American lives. But what did we do? We listened to our genius president, and all of a sudden we just got up and galloped out of there and left them behind. Many of them were killed. Some of the women were raped, and these Taliban's people are still in charge over there. And we're going to talk about what really happened when we left and what we left behind. And people are going to be really surprised at what we have done and what we continue doing. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bo. Thank you. And you know how much it means to me to be here on this particular topic, because we can't let the story of the Afghan war or the Afghan people die. There's too many vets and too many people from too many American citizens putting their time, effort, and energy and sanity into trying to help get these allies that worked with us to safety.
And I know one thing over the years, Sean, you actually gave your own money for somebody for medical. And I mean, these people love America. They're the ones that ain't going through our southern border. They're trying to come here legally, and there was all kinds of blocks. I know you have a group of people together that have been helping a lot of them come here, and I mean, this is a perfect example. We should open our borders wide for the people that supported our military over there. How many men, United States soldiers, were killed over there in the, 20 years?
20 years in Afghanistan, Bo.
How many were killed?
It was 4,000 and change, 4,300.
And then we had tens of thousands injured, and some of them very serious.
Tens of thousands easily,
But our biggest support over there were a lot of these Afghan people, great people, family structured, who love our country.
Absolutely. An Afghan military force, an intelligence force, an air force that we built up and trained for 20 years.
And they did also, Sean, they had lists. They were able to compile. When we left in a hurry, we left behind names of people that were helping us, interpreters, their names, their families, and bring up the people to what happened to some of them and maybe continue to happen to them right now. What's going on with that, Sean?
Yeah, so what's going on in Afghanistan now, and I'll get into that list piece. So obviously the country completely fell to the Taliban in August of 21. And let's talk about the equipment and the infrastructure we talked about first, Bo. That number of 86 billion, I think it's 86 billion. That includes all the bases and the infrastructure that was left over there, and then another 7 to 8 billion that during the actual fall that we say that the Pentagon or the government says fell into the hands of the Taliban. Now, there's a convenient narrative from the government that says, well, all that 86 and the majority of that 7 to 8 billion on top of it, that was already in a way turned over to the Afghan military. So it wasn't really us surrendering it. It was the Afghan military. It doesn't matter now, Bo. The fact is all that stuff is in the hands of the Taliban. the list you were talking about, and this is late breaking, I just got this from some of my sources over the last couple days, is our biometrics capability, which we have over there, which is a capability that you can identify an Afghan and whether or not they are a straight civilian, whether or not they work for an Afghan government agency, whether or not they work for us, or most importantly, the Afghans that are most at risk, it identifies if they worked in some of the Afghan special operations units, which were the ones embedded with us, training with us, fighting with us. So now...
Loyal to us, protecting us, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the Afghans that are absolutely most at risk and most in hiding, do not fall under the legal categories to be allowed to even apply to try to come to the United States anyway. Mm-hmm. So they're in hiding. Well, the ones that haven't tried to escape, but the escape is another story I'll get into here in a second. The ones that are still in Afghanistan are in hiding, which is a nightmare unto itself. But now, even if they're captured in hiding, which happens all the time, I know one that just got killed on Monday, the Taliban captured him and poisoned the guy. If they capture him and they use this biometric equipment on him, well, now it's not a guessing game if he worked with us. It's not a guessing game if he was an Afghan commando, an Afghan special operations guy, an Afghan intel guy. The system will tell them.
So all our intelligence and all our biometrics that we left behind now is being used the Taliban to use against us.
Right.
And the good people of Afghanistan.
And I'll tell you, it's indicative of the absolute unfortunate, chaotic way that things fell there in the end. Because, I mean, my God, I feel so bad for those service members on the ground at the end. Everything that they had to do to try to get out and try to get other American citizens out, and they're picking and choosing what to destroy so it doesn't turn over to the hands of Taliban. To think that they didn't destroy these devices that had the biometrics, which probably pretty easy to destroy compared to an armored vehicle or an Apache helicopter or a Black Hawk or something like that.
And no one had the foresight in our military that, hey, we got some secret stuff there. Let's destroy it, rather than turn it over to these Taliban criminals.
Well, I mean, I want to be careful there because I don't want to criticize in any way, shape, or form the guys at the ground on the.
Excuse me, I will.
Military dudes. Yeah.
Sean, you're a military man. I respect it. I will criticize it. This is our people there. This is our intelligence, and this was done in a sham. And the whole idea of what happened there, and then the loss of our dozen soldiers at the end was horrific. See those caskets coming back, and these were people that were over there, and they were protected. In reality, why did we go into Afghanistan? Was after 9/11. So let's be real about it. And who was hiding in there? Bin Laden, and that was one of the reasons why we went in there. And just bring us up to a little bit more specifics, please.
Okay. Let's briefly touch on the going in because you started us off there. So, I don't think anyone went in thinking that we'd be there for 20 years. Long wars don't work. There's a reason World War I was 5-6 years. World War II was 5-6 years. So, this war was unfortunately a failure at the strategic level, and that's what made it a 20-year war and a complete, disaster.
And it was a kind of no-win war either. We had the capabilities of going in there, cleaning up the garbage, and we just prolonged it back and forth. Am I correct with that?
Right, and the reasons are, it's easy with hindsight now for me to identify two golden opportunities to when this thing could have been cut short. Right after 9/11, a very small group of American special operations units and intelligence assets went into Afghanistan and actually rolled up the Taliban. That's when we put Karzai in power. All this took place in like 90 days, and this was a small group of guys. That would have been now a golden opportunity to go to the Taliban and say, let's not turn this into a generational nightmare because we'll roll in here with hundreds of thousands. Let's come to a deal now. That hindsight, perfect world, that would have been a golden opportunity. Or as it dragged out to year 10 and we got bin Laden in 2011, that may have been another symbolic time to say, all right, do we really want this thing to continue to go on? None of that matters now because it's no one's fault, one here or there. But the reason it dragged on, I point out the strategic level, Bo, is wars are fought at three levels. The tactical level, those are the guys and girls, boots on ground, making things happen day to day. Then you got the operational level above them. The operational level plans, leads, oversees the tactical level. And then the strategic, that's when you're talking about, Defense Department level, Central Intelligence Agency, State Department, Congress, White House. One of the problems there, and I don't know how this could have been fixed, is leadership changes over. Presidents change every 4 years. Well, maybe they do another tour, but presidents change, politicians change, priorities change at those levels. And then when you get down to the military side, our commanders on the ground change. And this is just a fact of the way things are run. I'll give you an example so this may make a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Say you got a company commander who deploys to Afghanistan in, let's just pick a year, 2003. He's there for 8 months. Him and his company, 400 or so, they do a phenomenal job. It takes 1-2 months before they're really working close with the local Afghan military, the Afghan police, the intelligence sources, the local elders. Elders and villagers have a big sway over. That's a big thing. You have to get close with them. So it takes a few months to build that. Then you actually start making progress on whatever your kind of mission is for a couple months. Then you know what your date is to leave. So there's a process.
So you make a friend with they'll make a friend with someone, and then all of a sudden that friendship is broken when the guy leaves. Oh, wait a second. He promised me this and that, and you couldn't stand up for your promises.
And then the new commander comes in with all the best intentions of the world, but he wasn't there for the last 7-8 months, and he's got a slightly different mission. He's got a slightly different boss giving him direction. He's got to start from square one. He's making new promises, and we haven't even sealed the deal on the old promises. So this is no junior military leader's fault. This just goes on and on. So as the phrase goes, we didn't fight a 20-year war. We fought a 1-year war 20 times. Now,
I think it's important too. One of your real close to your heart thing is some of the groups that you've put together, you work with today, to try to get some of these people out of there before they kill them, their families and all that. I'm talking about the interpreters and people that were advising our military what we had to do, who we had to be afraid of and all that. So what are you actually doing now? What are the groups that you're involved in? That's very important to hit that.
Sure. So I'll kind of get into how this thing started. The two processes, legal processes, and we'll get into the legal one here in a second. The two legal processes for Afghans who worked with us over there is the SIV program. We talked about in the last podcast, Special Immigrant Visa Program, and then a refugee program. So long before the fall of Afghanistan, I think the SIV program came about, I think, about 2009. So that's where we could start the application process to allow, say, an Afghan interpreter that worked with us over there, he or she did their time. They can't stay over there with us forever. They've done their time. They can't stay there. Their family's at risk. We've got a process to allow them to come to the United States legally. So vets were helping Afghans with that process long before the fall. August of 2001 comes.
And this is mostly voluntary thing with the vets. I mean, they weren't ordered to do this, right?
No. Prior to the fall of 21, a situation would be like me. Like, I was in Afghanistan. I've got an interpreter. I help him out with the paperwork, write a personal letter and all that to the State Department for the thing to be approved and for him to come here with his family. But in 2001, when the place was falling and the situation was changing by the hour, by the minute, really, that's when chaos broke out. And groups of veterans our phones started to explode from Afghans that were still in contact with there, or Afghans, say, in country here, or other NATO countries are like, hey, you've got to help us save our families. So just kind of ad hoc networks of buddies and vets and people that didn't even know each other but had a mutual bond started to jump through hoops, and 100 podcasts could be done on this separately, but started to jump through hoops to figure out how to help get Afghans out at that moment during the chaos. The chaos ends, the last bird's gone, but that's almost just the beginning of what you're getting into with these groups. So these groups of men and women who were helping Afghans try to get out during this chaotic fall of Afghanistan have by no means stopped whatsoever. They have absolutely put their foot on the gas, and they are doing everything they can to fight the nightmare bureaucratic battle, to fight the nightmare administrative battle, the logistical battle, the legislative battle, to try to get the U.S. government to approve more of those applications.
And what kind of programs are they? Why don't you describe some of the programs?
So one's the SIV program, and the nightmare with this thing that seems to never end is that program, if you can get approved, which is a disaster unto itself, it takes an eternity. The red tape is a nightmare on that. But if you can get an Afghan approved through that, that only works if they fall under the category. Say that category works for interpreters. There is no category legally for the Afghan special operations forces, intelligence forces that worked with us, and those are the most at risk that I was getting.
Right, and when the downfall of Afghanistan came, wasn't there names of these people who were there with their intelligence, and the Taliban got their hands on them? Am I correct?
Oh, tons of them. I don't know the number.
And how many do you think were killed? Killed their family members? They had like an open season on them then.
Yeah, I mean they're probably professional at hiding now, but
But what did you hear as far as after we left there? When they discovered these names of these people that were their special operations, special forces, they're intelligent people. Now they got the names. What is it that you've heard? How many of them have you heard were killed?
I don't know the number. I would say it's in the hundreds, Bo. There was some of them during that time frame, August and the few months after, where I had phone communication with, and then it totally ceased. I got to assume those guys got killed.
And then we don't even know what happened to their family members, right, Sean?
Yeah, I'm sure. I know family members that have been tortured because they haven't given up the location of some of these guys. So these guys have a tough journey. They don't fall under the legal categories to come here. And even if they did, time is running out on these programs anyway. There's hundreds of thousands more applicants than there are slots. So what some of these guys are defaulting to, and I've talked some of them out of it, is this nightmare option to where they physically escape to, say, Pakistan, maybe even out to India, Turkmenistan, Iran. Those aren't good options. But let's say they get out to Pakistan or in India. They manage to link up because they've been told it's going to work. They've been linked up with a representative from a cartel.
Oh, actual illegal criminal cartels.
Sure.
Get involved with the
yeah. Well, because they get paid, whatever. I think maybe it's $5,000 a family member or something like that along those lines.
So then they get them on a plane to South America.
Yeah. So if you're lucky enough to somehow get out of hiding, get your family, escape the Taliban, get into, say, Pakistan, now you link up with an alleged trustworthy cartel dude. You give him everything you got, and you're dragging your family with you. Maybe you got elderly parents. You actually do get on a plane. They actually get these guys to Brazil's. We actually call it the Brazil option. Brazil's a place they go to, Guatemala, Venezuela. But think about this. You get in Venezuela, you're trusting a cartel. You may speak 4 languages that are good in your part of the world. They don't speak Spanish, these guys. So now they got to traverse an entire continent through 10 different countries. They got to get through the Darien Gap between Colombia and Panama, which I'd rather be back mingling with the Taliban than try to drag a family through the Darien Gap. Then they got to get up to the Mexican border, assuming they even survive all that between disease and starvation
and snakes,
everything you could possibly die of in that area. Assuming you get to the Mexican border and assuming you get in, Well, yes, you're in the United States, but now you're lumped into this giant nightmare of the legal immigration fiasco here. You got no paperwork. You can't get any of the support of the Afghans do that came here through the SIV program or the refugee program. So think about how desperate you got to be to pull that option.
Yeah. Now, I think important issue is that a lot of the listeners don't know what is America giving to the Taliban and continue. What have we given them and what did we continue? And why don't we use that as a pry bar? No ticky, no shirty. We ain't going to give you any money unless you get us some of these fellas that will cooperate with our military back. But what kind of monies are involved with the United States government to the Taliban now?
Okay, so I just got informed on this a day ago. So I'll tell you what I know or what I heard. Allegedly, when things were falling in 2021, there were $7 billion of Afghan funds that were either already here in the U.S., Treasury in New York, or quickly got shifted here by our government. I heard it was called Afghan funds, but ultimately you peel it back. We're there for 20 years. It's obviously U.S. taxpayer money. It's not Afghan funds. So my understanding is our government gave the Taliban $3.5 billion right off the bat. To run the country there in some sort of humanitarian form, which isn't happening at all. Every story I hear in the last few days, I spoke to 4 Afghans in country. I spoke to Afghans in this country and other countries that have family there, and everything I hear about life there is horrifying.
Wow.
Yeah. So back to the money. So $3.5 billion off the bat. Then, if this is true, I'm hearing $40 million a week. And why this is extremely dangerous.
So the United States is sending $40 million a week to Afghanistan. For what reason?
That I don't know. I guess it's under the guise of, please run the country to some sort of civil
decorum.
way.
Some kind of decorum.
I mean, it's a nightmare for women. It's a nightmare for kids. As an Afghan buddy told me last night, well, let me stop there for a second because I want to highlight something. When I talk to these Afghans, whether they're in Afghanistan, still trying to be saved, or they're here in the United States, or they're in some other country trapped in some legal nightmare limbo, it's heartbreaking. The first thing they say is they ask me how I'm doing and how my family's doing and how my life is. It's the strangest thing. I don't know how to describe. Like, I'm talking to guys who are in desperate situations, who have family members killed, friends killed. Some of them I'm trying to talk out of doing this nightmare thing through South America to get here, and the first thing on their mind is asking how I'm doing. I mean, it's
so. I mean, like I said, you can't take a country like Afghanistan and look upon it as it being Taliban. And I mean, are they recognized Taliban now by the international NATO and all that? Who is the Taliban and how are they recognized?
Yeah, so Taliban's not the Taliban that took the country over in 2001. This is almost 3 years later. Now they have an official embassy in Qatar. I mean, they're recognized by many countries as an actual government.
The UN recognize them?
I don't know that for certain, but I know that a development, again, that just happened the last couple days is that the Haqqani Network is a terrorist group based out of Pakistan responsible for killing at least hundreds of Americans, who knows, thousands. The leader of the Haqqani Network is, I forget his position in the Taliban government, but I think he's the equivalent of our Secretary of Defense right now. He's up there. He was just given a green light to travel by the UN, had to have a piece of this. The United States had to have had a piece of this. He's now traveling the last couple days over Saudi Arabia and UAE, mingling with dignitaries and politicians. Those are countries where we have American forces staged. So you talk about a slap in the face, but that pings back and answers your question. Are they recognized? Certainly seems like they're recognized to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And these are the same scumbags that killed a lot of American soldiers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, and again, we're talking about United States money going over there, and no one's doing a damn thing about getting a reason behind it. If you want to conform yourself back to the society and be a recognized government, show us something that you're going to do to help the good people of Afghanistan that were cooperating with America. No?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not an expert in foreign policy negotiations, but I mean, for Christ's sake, maybe we cut the bank account off and say, give us these Afghan special operations guys. We'll even do it for you. Let our military and State Department go in there, get these guys and their families, take them out. On the government piece over there, Bo, it's important. China started rolling in to Afghanistan.
Now, did China take over that Air Force base there? What's the name of it? What's it called?
Bagram Air Force Base.
Yeah, are they in there now? Because I know the natural resources over in Afghanistan have to do with what? What is the big natural resource that China's interested in over there?
They're interested in the lithium over there, but
batteries.
Yeah, well, it's in everything now, lithium, and I imagine China, enemy of the United States. I mean, okay, we agree on some trade things, but I mean, they are advising and assisting the Taliban as much as they possibly can. And what this is going to result in, it's more than just Taliban over there now, who has now made friends with Al-Qaeda, who's now clearly friends with Khani Network. Allegedly, there's countless other groups of lower-level terrorist cells over there. What you pointed out in your comments before we started this portion of the podcast, it's almost a given that this is going to come home here to the United States. This equipment and stuff that we left over there, maybe the Taliban themselves can't figure out how to use this stuff, but somebody taught them how to use that biometric equipment, probably China. Someone's funding them beyond the billions that we're throwing away over there.
Did we actually leave jets there too? Actual fighter jets? Or at least they have the initiative to fly the damn things out.
I don't know about fighter jets. Now, we did leave...
I know, the M1s and tanks.
Yeah, there wasn't too much tank war going on during this, but armored vehicles with heavy machine guns on it. I won't get into the flavors of the vehicles. There's so many of them by the time I get out of the military, but hundreds of armored vehicles. Yeah. Now, when we left, the Afghans themselves, be it Taliban or the Afghan army, were continuing to massively struggle on how to maintain their own weapons, their own equipment, their own vehicles, and all that. But I'll bet China rolled in there and teaching them how to use that stuff.
Or China rolled in there and took the equipment. I mean, that's it.
Shopping is hard, right? But I found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And he sends just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what works and send back the rest. It's so easy. Make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Spotify. That's stitchfix.com/Spotify.
This has been a very interesting topic to me, and I'm sure to our listeners and all that. Sean, and you deal with it day to day. I'm very lucky to have you on board with me. I love you as a family member of mine because I love what you do and your heart for something that other people were in the war. They just move back to New York, America, and leave it behind. But you didn't leave it behind, and I know that you continue with your networks. And what are some of the networks that are out there where people like to know if they wanted to help things? What are some of them?
Yeah, I have to talk about this. One of the most important pieces. Like, I'm one guy who's passionate about this, and thankfully to you, I got a voice on this podcast now, and I'm trying to, help Afghans that work with me. But there are groups of veterans out there, Bo, that, they're pouring their heart, their soul, their money, their time, their sanity into still trying to help these Afghans escape. And then there's the piece of helping them get settled once they're in this country, help them find jobs. Some of these groups are now trying to lobby Congress to get more help over there, to allow the Special Operations Forces to be allowed to be part of the visa program to come here. So, I'm not officially on paper part of any of these well, I mean, I am. I talk to them, and but I'll list them here because there are some names.
Tell us. I think that's important for the listening audience to understand. Maybe they can Google them and find out. Maybe people want to actually contribute to these organizations. What are some of them?
Yeah, sure. So in no particular order here, I'll first mention Scott Mann. Scott Mann is a retired Army Special Forces lieutenant colonel. From day one of this fiasco, he took the lead as being the vocal guy out there. And really, I mean, he spoke on Congress about this. He's rallied teams of vets together. If there's one guy who's been, the voice of this overall effort, it's him. You can look up Task Force Pineapple. It's a book now, and Scott is relentless. He's got a day job. He's got a family. He bounces around the country speaking on this topic. He's the one, Bo, that did the play in Staten Island last month. So, there's so many I'm going to miss. Other groups, Afghan Hire. Afghan Hire helps the Afghans that once they come here, get settled. Our government does help them get situated to some degree, but that doesn't last forever. These guys and girls need jobs. The Afghanistan Project podcast, we've never actually spoke verbally. Beth Bailey does a podcast on this thing. It's every week. The people on this podcast are not going to let this topic die. 1208 Foundation, Moral Compass Foundation, Moral Compass Federation, Travis Peterson. Thanks again, Travis. Spoke to him a couple days ago. He's as passionate as they come. He's again trying to lobby Congress. Task Force Argo, Afghan Evac, Operation Dunkirk, Evacuate Our Allies, NoOneLeft.org, Global Friends of Afghanistan, Vets for NRF.
So there's tremendous amounts of groups in there. Sean.
And Mo, I know tons of guys and girls that they're not officially part of these groups. They do it alone. I'll mention Mike. I can't mention him because he's still in uniform now. I won't give his last name. Mike's still in uniform. He chooses his method to not officially be part of this group, although he speaks to them, because he's just got such a long list of Afghans that he's trying to save that he focuses, and he's on it every day. And he's got a day job, and he bangs this out, so trying to help these guys.
Sean, this has really been an interesting conversation. And, I mean, it's something for our listening audience to realize, there's effects. When you're out of there, everybody thinks it's over. We're out of Afghanistan. We left like garbage, and we totally destroyed the whole value. Other countries around our NATO partners look at them saying, well, I don't know if I want to support the United States of America. Look what they did with the Afghanistan people. These people were supportive of them, and they left them out on a limb to be killed. And that's one of the most important things I think people could take. And plus, I call out, why are we still sending money to the Taliban? And in reality, we learned one thing. The war isn't over when we pull out. The war is still continuing for all those great, and it's all about those great Afghan people who supported us there. And now we have to remember them, and we just can't run away and say like it didn't happen. God knows how many American lives they saved for us. And I really want to thank you. I know it's tough when you talk about it because your heart is there. We talk about it all the time. When we go have a drink or something at a bar, we talk about it. And this is your passion. And I really commend you for your passion of loving. There are great people in Afghanistan. The way you're talking, they'd give their lives, and a lot of them gave their lives up for our military guys. And I really want to thank you, Sean, for coming in today. And this is a great podcast. It really gave us a lot of information of what happened when we left Afghanistan.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you.
Hello, folks. Larry Kudlow here. Pay attention, because China is leading the largest anti-American alliance since World War II. One that's already dumped U.S. bonds, grabbed 43 million acres of our farmland, and is plotting to dethrone the dollar. That's why IRA and 401k savers are protecting their savings with gold. Please go to freegoldguide.com/Kudlow or just call 800-621-3908 for your free gold guide on how to protect your wealth with gold 100% tax-free.